plants can hear without hearing. They can taste without tasting. They can smell without smelling. They can breathe without breathing. They can create memories. They hold a memory for up to 40 days.
Wow.
And they make calculations.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Goddess Hangs.
Episode 81.
Woo! I'm Sadie.
And I'm Juliet, obviously.
And we created the Goddess Hangs podcast to make the world of mindset, manifestation, and magic more relatable and fun.
Fun! And today, we have Boo and Sparkle.
Go ahead, Boo, say something.
Sparkle, say hi to Boo.
Boo's by the mic. She says, Mom, please let me go. Okay, that's all I wanted. You can go. Be free. Bye-bye.
All right. The kitties have said hello.
And we're ready to rumble. We're recording, what's it called? Virtually today?
Yes,
remotely. That's the word. We're recording remotely today.
And I miss you so much.
I know, but we're about to
just have so much to do leading up to the retreat that we're just going to batch 2 episodes here today remotely, and then we'll be on our retreat, and then we'll be back to being together, which I'm very excited about.
Yes, we're about to spend a whole week traveling together, so we'll make up for last time.
So fun. Lucky me.
So let's see, when this episode comes out, it's going to be a couple weeks from now, but I guess we can still catch up. Like, what's going on? What's new with you? It's going to be a little old news, but the people want to know.
Oh my gosh. I'm not sick. Nothing crazy. I have been getting these like wild bursts of energy to like create, batch it out. Like, I've done so much stuff like for myself and for us, and that's been really fun. And whenever I get in that zone, I just have to run with it, because inevitably the next week I'm not going to want to do a thing.
Yeah.
So
I operate the same way.
So that has been very fun for me. I have been really just hanging at home working. I did one work day from my pool this week, which I did a little Instagram live, and it was so fun. I felt so bad. I was doing like a phone meeting with somebody, and my sweet neighbor comes down and is like, hi, and like dives in the pool. Oh. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm on the phone. And I was like, how rude am I to come to the public community pool and be like, can you keep it down?
Could you keep it down? I'm taking a meeting.
And so I messaged her immediately after. I was like, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to be rude. She's like, oh, I don't care.
We'll have our own private pools to work from in no time.
Oh, I know. Very excited for that. I watched on Gaia, I watched The Abundance Code, like you recommended. Really, really enjoyed that.
It's an inspiring one.
The biggest takeaway from it was how to live a life of abundance, we have to move into a place of like service and giving, and how can we help, and how can we give, and how can we serve and support. And like that felt really, really good to hear. Because we just love doing that anyways. Yeah. So that was new. And I don't know if I talked about my sister graduating. I think I did last week. I might have mentioned it. And otherwise, it's just been like documentaries, sort of like dressing up cute and staying home a little bit recently. And yeah, that's sort of the general vibe. I've just been like feeling really good for like days on end, and energized and excited to make stuff, and getting very, very, very excited about our retreat. And I cannot wait to do a retreat tell-all when we get back from that, because I know it's going to be so unforgettable and so fun.
I think this episode will be dropping the Monday like that the retreat wraps up, if I'm thinking the math correctly.
Aww. As we go on.
Sings that song any chance you get. So next week we'll have a juicy tell-all.
And I got a fabulous email that one of my songs is going to do something very cool and be in something very cool. So I'll share that when it comes out, because in this industry, things can always change.
Yeah.
But it's been a great week. I've been having a great week. It's a quick catch up on my end. How are you?
Yeah, I think quick catch up too. I've been like, I'm not used to being like busy. Like I keep myself busy. Like I love just like creating and working and whatever on my stuff, but not like out of the house, like have to be places at certain times busy. I'm not used to that because that's not my vibe most of the time. But I have, at the time of this recording, this stuff is all going to be over and done with by the time you hear this. But like I'm about to go to Santa Barbara for a weekend for a beautiful wedding, and then we're going to Wisconsin, and first it's the retreat, and then I'm staying home like an extra like week and a half after that. So I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna be traveling for like basically 3 weeks. I'll be home for a few days, in between there. But I didn't really mean to, but before you leave, you are like, well, I gotta get my nails done, and then it was just so happened to be like the 3 or 4 months had passed. It's time to like refresh my hair and then like my Ayurvedic doctor follow-up appointment. If you haven't listened to my Ayurvedic doctor story, you're gonna want to listen if you like learning about poop. But I've just been like, and then we're doing all sorts of Instagram lives and all of these and then we have our regular coaching calls, and so it's just been like boom 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 every day is just stacked, and so it's all fun stuff and stuff I'm happy and luxurious acts of self-love I get to give myself, like getting my nails done and stuff like that. But it's just a lot, and I'm like exhausted by it, but I'm very grateful that this is my week. I feel like a bougie bitch, so it's been fun.
Love that.
And I'm excited in a couple days to just disconnect and enjoy my weekend in Santa Barbara, and then get into like the final launch streak of Quantum Goddess, which that's something new with us. Quantum Goddess launched to our early bird. We already have a few inspiring babes signed up, and we're excited. I don't know, I guess we'll have that wrapped up when this comes out, but shout out to all of our Quantum Goddesses. We're so excited to work with you. And it's just been such a fun learning experience. This is our second time launching, and it just goes to show that like not every launch is going to happen the same. So there's been learning experiences here. We're trying new things, and it's just been fun to explore and approach it in new ways, and at times a little overwhelming and like, oh my gosh, like what's the next step, and just really challenging to like lean in and surrender and trust my intuition. So there's been a lot of that this week too, of just like really tuning into myself and like letting ego step aside and just knowing and trusting that like, yes, the right babes they're lining up. It's all good. It's happening. So that's been really fun and exciting too, to just lean into this launch, because launches are like weird energy. It's kind of a roller coaster. You get excited and then you doubt yourself, and then you get excited again, and then you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And so just embracing that, like, that's how it feels because we're learning, and maybe that's how it feels forever. But it's just been a busy week. It's been great.
It's definitely hang on. Excuse me. It's definitely been this big is untapping the word? I feel like this well of energy and ideas and resources that I didn't expect to need, but we are utilizing this launch. It's actually been very inspiring. Like, oh my God, these ideas are just like, I'm getting these lists of like, oh, here's what we need to do, and here's how we need to serve and share and help and like let people really fully understand like how special this program is. It has never been more fun to, launch anything because we know how incredible this is, and like the results really do speak for themselves. And so it's been fun. It's been fun getting all these ideas, and I feel like my little spirit guide, who's like a business manager, like he like I don't know, I feel like he's like a short, serious guy with an oversized coat, and he's like, okay, here's what's gonna happen.
Okay, let's do this. I do think that like being sort of nudged to take different approaches and try different things. I think it's sort of been a divinely placed challenge for us to follow our intuition and then learn from launching in a different way, because that's what we're helping people do in this program, is launch. So it's like the universe is like, well, ladies, listen, we gotta have you try something new this time around. You can't do the exact same thing because we want you to be well-rounded teachers and guides. So we're gonna do this a little differently this time.
I love that.
So we're just getting better and better equipped to serve, and that's exciting.
I see a fungus gnat. I need to get it. I hate them. Are they in this plant? Now I'm concerned. When does this is going to air, the 27th?
I think so.
Okay, so there might be a chance that there's a spot left.
There might be.
In Quantum Goddess. So if you are interested, please let us know, because we start in July.
Yeah, the 27th. So yeah, if there are spots left, you can still join. We'll see. Yeah, we start in a couple weeks, so that's exciting.
I can't wait. I'm so excited to dig into everybody's projects and do it all over again.
Over again. So exciting.
So this week,
yes,
we are learning
about trees and sort of
and
plants in general,
and the consciousness of plants and trees. I learned so much.
It's crazy. So I want to start out this chat by telling a cute story.
Okay.
Because when Juliet and I worked together at the crystal store, we had some Venus flytrap plants there. And this is not a tree, but it is an example of plant consciousness. And I watched this one TED Talk. And so I just thought, because we have a relatable story, I would start here. That was talking about how the consciousness of plants. And this was a professor of neuroscience. And he was talking about, what constitutes, he goes into high schools and middle schools to teach and sort of recruit kids that are interested in this to follow that path. And so he asks the kids what is a brain, and who has a brain? And typically the answer is things that move have brains. And that's true. Brains are this electrical functioning mechanism that allow us to move so quickly. It's because we're firing off electrical currents. And so he's kind of talking about the electrical currents, and he's got these plants on stage on this TED Talk, and one of them is a Venus flytrap, and one of them it's called a mimosa plant, and both of these have quick reaction times. They move fast. And so he was showing how the plants can count. So remember when we would play with the Venus flytrap, and it wouldn't close on the first one, and I don't think it would close on the second one, but the third prod, it would close. And that's because the Venus flytraps, those traps only have so many times they can open and close. It is a lot of energy for the plant, so they want to make sure it's worth it. And I never really thought of how incredible that was when we were just entertained by the Venus flytrap. We would play with it at the store all the time. But he had it caught or attached to a machine to show its spike in that it recognized, and consistently it counts one. And, that might just be a leaf passing through or something, but it makes sure it counts one. And if it within 20 seconds, it's a 20-second thing. 2, and then if the third one comes, well, that's most likely, this plant has this awareness that then that's more than likely a treat, a fly or some other bug, because it's flying around in there, and then it closes quickly. And I just thought, wow, yeah, that I never really considered the fact that it was literally counting.
I remember I would teach people, I'm like, look, so if you press one little hair, it doesn't do anything. And if you press 2 little hairs, it doesn't do anything. But if in the span of 20 seconds, you do a third one. And then, of course, not understanding that you can't just keep playing with it or it will die. I killed it unintentionally and I felt really bad.
Our little neuroscientist, Juliet, at the crystal store.
But it was fun while it lasted. I watched that video too. His name was Greg Gage, and it's a really good TED Talk. And it was amazing. It was amazing.
The other thing was that I think he somehow connected the Venus flytrap to the mimosa plant, and he touched the Venus flytrap and the mimosa plant moved.
Yes. So they communicate through electric currents. And so it was like receiving the information as if it had been touched.
Right.
And it reacted. That to me was magic. I went, whoa.
Yeah.
So
the crowd went wild in that TED Talk.
oh my God. I time-stamped it, I think, because I was like, I have to tell people to go to this exact, where was it? Oh my gosh. It was just unbelievable. It was towards the end. It was like at the 9-minute mark or something.
It's right at the end. Because I was
Gage TED Talk.
doing something and I heard all the cheers, and so I ran back and rewound it so I could watch. Because I was like listening mostly.
Oh my gosh. I did a ton of research and I am upset. Like I always knew, like now every time I relearn this, I just want to talk to my plants and take the time. Like I'm petting a plant right now more and more because they're extremely conscious.
Yeah.
In ways that we...
Oh, my alarm's going off.
In ways that we don't realize.
Again, but we'll wait till after we're done recording.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just start diving into all of this and then stop me at any time to share your thoughts.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about forests.
Oh, okay. So I watched this big speech on this man, and his name was, oh my gosh, where is he? He was like the coolest. Stefano. His name was Stefano. Did you hear anything about Stefano?
I did not come across Stefano.
Oh, no. Okay. I have to find where I put the little... Okay. TED Talk, Are Plants Conscious by Stefano Muscano. So the way that he started his TED Talk was he was showing like 4 different images. And the first was like a deer in a forest. And then it was a frog on a plant. And then it was people walking through the woods. And he said, what do you see here? And it was like 99% of people, 99.7, no. Anyways, most people said, oh, I see a deer and I see a frog and I see people. And nobody mentioned the plants. And so what we have as humans is something called plant blindness, because evolutionarily, is that even a word? Over the evolution of us, we needed to be aware of the other humans nearby, of the other animals nearby for our safety. We didn't really need to be aware of the plants because they weren't going to hurt us.
Right.
So when we say what's in this photo, people aren't going to say a deer surrounded by plants. So we just have this like subconscious plant blindness. And so we sort of don't think of them as like these conscious beings because we just over time evolved to not really pay much attention to them, which I thought was so interesting. But 99.7% of the biomass on Earth is plants. Only 0.3% is animals and humans.
Wow.
And plants evolved not to have any organs because they are smart, and organs are too dangerous because if a bug comes and like nibbles a piece of your brain, like that's it, you're gone.
Right.
So they just evolved in a particular way. And so plants can hear without hearing. They can taste without tasting. They can smell without smelling. They can breathe without breathing. They can create memories. They hold a memory for up to 40 days.
Wow.
And they make calculations. So they're just this really interesting thing where they use no energy. They have no muscles. But when you speed up a time lapse, their movement is incredibly obvious. And they are very social too. Like the seedlings like to grow together. And when they come out of the ground, they all do their little oscillating, their little shaking at the same time with each other. Then they grow a little bit more and then they all shake together. They're very social, which is so cute. So the question is, are they intelligent? Yes. Are they conscious? Yes, they solve problems and they are aware of their position in the environment. And they know they can build a model of like where they are in connection to other organisms. and like the world at large. They are more sensitive than animals. They are sensing at least 20 different chemical and physical parameters at all times, like gravity, temperature, wind, carbon dioxide, heavy metals, pathogens, magnetic fields, vibrations. And when they hear sound, when they feel vibrations of sound, they grow their roots towards it. Like they can sense it.
Wow.
But I have to show you, if you're watching the video, look how I drew all these experiments so I could remember them. Like, look at all these experiments.
I love it.
So this one blew my mind. There was a bean sprout, and over here on the far end of the room, and they did this, Stefano did this in like a lab, was a big pole, and bean sprouts need to wrap around a pole. So you see this bean sprout wasting no time growing towards this pole, creating a hook and moving towards it, and it knows that the pole is there.
Wow.
The leaves calm down once it hooks around. It just senses. And then he tried the study with a pole in the middle and 2 bean sprouts on either side. So both bean sprouts begin to sense that there's a pole on the, one is to the left, one is to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Then they begin competing to see who gets the pole. When plant number 2 realizes that plant number 1 got the pole, plant number 2 starts looking for alternatives. I mean, it's just, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And then back to the mimosa plant, they taught the plant that it doesn't need to close when a certain stimuli is not a threat. And it remembered that for 40 days.
Wow.
A plant has a memory for 40 days. They also make choices, Sadie. According to Exhibit C.
Exhibit C, everybody.
Okay. If a little parasitic plant sprouts up, and there's a tomato plant and a wheat plant on either side of it, every time, you can do this experiment, he said 100 times, it will move around and it will always choose the tomato plant because it's an easier thing to leech. Like, it knows.
Wow.
It knows. They are making choices. Choices, Sadie.
I know.
There are more experiments. IKEA did a study.
IKEA? Like the
IKEA.
store?
IKEA, the store. They placed 2 plants in boxes and they put them in different, like, middle schools, high schools. And they bullied one plant and they spoke kindly to the other plant. And they gave them the same amount of sunlight, water, whatever, oxygen. And this was a story on CBS 2 News as well. I watched a lot of stuff last night, okay?
That reminds me of the book The Power of 8 that I read. And so she is really interested in the power of group intention, but she's a skeptic that's sort of just incredibly curious about the spiritual world, the energetic world, but very, very skeptical. So she's just sort of dedicated her life to like doing her best to prove these things that are really hard to prove because there's a lot of to prove something in science, you have to be able to control a certain level of variations and things like that. But over and over and over again, she would recruit different colleges, labs, get funding to do these experiments. She would get people from all over the world to come online, or like a auditorium full of people to like sit in the auditorium and view plants on a live stream video and send kind words to them, kind thoughts. She would like lead them through like a meditation and like sending them light. And she did these experiments over and over and over and over and over again. And every single time, the ones so sometimes it would be neutral, just nothing, and then positive intention, or sometimes it would be like harsh words and then positive intention, but over and over and over again, the plants with positive intentions grew much faster, much fuller, much healthier. And she did these experiments hundreds of times with like group intention. It was incredible.
I think I'm gonna cuddle this plant while we talk. She's very sensitive, but very beautiful. And I see a new lilies coming up. Good job. Good job. And we learned on this podcast to shake your plants. They like it.
Especially the what's the bigger tree that I have?
Oh, the fiddle leaf.
Fiddle leaves love to be shaken.
They want to dance.
It's like the wind's blowing through their leaves. Got to give them the experience. So like what you're saying, so IKEA did this thing and it was like raising awareness about kindness, and on day 30, the bullied plant looked like trash. I mean, it just looked like garbage, and the positive plant was thriving. And this little girl, that CBS News 2 did a story on her because she was getting bullied at school, and she's like, I want to show people like that it really matters. And so they bought 2 identical plants at Home Depot. The kids said kind things and unkind things to the plants. The bullied plant died at 6 days. Like, they sense intentions. It's wild. Another thing I learned about, and this made me so sad too, but they they hooked up their machines to trees in a forest, so that they can sense the electrical currents that come out to communicate. And then they were only talking about, so humans were having a conversation, but intentionally around these trees, talking about how they were going to chop them down. And the trees, the frequency that was coming through was like the same as like a human scream. Like, they knew that they were talking about chopping these trees down, and they were like screaming in response. They knew what they were talking about.
Oh my God, I feel so bad. There's a plant that I was gifted for Christmas, and it had this beautiful flower in the middle. And then, I don't know, it just was sort of, I would very verbally say, I don't like this plant. Like, I'm just trying to keep, and all my plants thrive and are so happy. And this one plant that I was like, I just need to get rid of this plant, just was dying. And she must have hurt me. I'm so sorry.
Speak kindly to your plants, everyone. It does make a difference. I know there's a lot of jokes about talking to your plants, but like, they're very aware of what we're saying. They are very, very aware. They can sense the frequency, the vibration.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I watched a whole Mythbusters on this too.
Oh, wow.
And they did different greenhouses, like isolated greenhouses. One, they played metal music for the plants. One, they played classical music. One, they said nice things to. One, they said mean things to. And one, they gave zero attention at all. They just watered it and left. And strangely enough, so their conclusion was that it was very plausible that like talking and singing to plants makes a difference. The plant that succeeded the most was the one that they played metal music to.
Oh,
I
really
think
fires you up.
Yeah, they liked it. Followed by classical music, followed by, it was like just words in general. And then the plant that did the worst had no contact at all.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Like, they like the attention.
So play metal music for your plants if you really want them to thrive. Get them fired up.
God. The frequency of the trees screaming just broke my heart.
I know.
Ay, ay, ay. Well, I have, let's see. Gosh, so much about the mycorrhizal fungal network. Lots to say about that. This was interesting. So I'm going to double check if this is a real thing. Any of our clue finders out there, if you want to do some research. So it says, in 1966, scientist Cleve Baxter hooked up plants to a polygraph test, a dragon plant, I believe, to a lie detector. And they had 2 different plants, and one of them, there were like 7 people in the room. They were each given a piece of paper, and everybody else was like, just look at the plant and walk away. And one person's job was to kill the plant. So there's 2 plants. The one guy who's been assigned to kill the plant goes in and like just tears up and destroys the one plant. They hook up the other plant to a polygraph test, and that plant freaking responds only when the person who killed its friend shows up.
Oh my God, I have
It
chills.
knew. And it felt fear. It said it recognized the exact person who destroyed its partner, and it even felt fear.
Oh my God.
Isn't that bizarre?
Crazy.
I also learned that insects only have a memory of like 24 hours, but plants remember things for like 40 days, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the Venus flytrap is unbelievable. They almost have their own little like plants. They have like oh my gosh, let me see what I wrote down. Oh, Darwin was obsessed with Venus flytraps, by the way. It was like his life's joy to look at them. Because
Something Juliet and Darwin have in common.
oh my God, just like plants in general. I just want to like cuddle them and fall asleep next to them. Okay. So then I watched something called The Secret Life of Trees.
Oh, I have that book, but I haven't read it yet.
Okay, well, I want you to share what you know about forests and trees and stuff.
Okay.
Because I remember you wanted to talk about that, and then I'll chime in with a bunch of look. Here's some more important experiments that I can chat about.
Okay, so forests are pretty incredible. I listened to a TED Talk from a woman who she grew up in Canada. Her grandfather was like a forester. She grew up in the forest. She was always surrounded by it and in it and a part of it. So she's very passionate about forests. And she said, you know, for most of her young life, this is when she was still a child, she was in wonder of the trees, but what she thought of as the trees was, you know, the roots and then the trunks and then what she called the crowns, like, you know, the luscious leafy part up top. But one day, their dog fell in the outhouse pit, which is pretty disgusting, and the dog ends up okay, don't worry. But her grandfather had to start digging outside of the outhouse to get down to that hole to get the dog out. And as her grandfather was digging, she noticed all of these layers in the ocean or in the forest floor. So there was the root system that you traditionally think of, but then she started seeing all these different layers that were different. They were also roots, but they appeared to be different, and it was this network. And so this is what sort of inspired her to like want to pursue higher education in forestry. And so she goes on to explain like experiments she's done, studies she's done, and basically you can think of the forest floor as a Wi-Fi network because they can travel and communicate through these networks very quickly. And they also, the trees and the plant systems, they can pass each other the nutrients, the carbon that they need, they share. So when we think of, I always thought of, okay, the tall trees get the sun and all of the shorter trees and the plants underneath, they like shade. They don't need sun, which is true. There are, of course, plants that like shade, but one thing that happens in a forest system is that the plants that are getting all of that sun, if they're producing more of the carbon, I believe, that they need, they can pass it to whoever needs it, and they communicate and they know. And so there's different times of the year, like in the summer, there's the trees that, you know, get their leaves in the summer, and they would pass what the fir trees needed. So they would pass more carbon to the fir trees. There was more passing that way. And then in the winter, when those trees lose all their leaves, and so they're more or less, they're kind of in hibernation because they don't have their leaves to help them utilize the sunlight. The fir trees are thriving in the winter. This is their time. This is when they're the ones that are doing the work, and then they're passing carbon to those other trees. And there's all this information. She did studies on like, okay, so they talk to each other and they share. They're like these families, these communities that pass along like what they need to each other. But she was also interested to see if mother trees recognized their own kin and gave them priority in passing what they needed. So the answer is yes, mother trees do recognize their kin. So they recognize the seedlings that are from them, their babies, and they will give first priority of their energy that they're able to pass along. They check in with them first and make sure they have everything they need and give them energy. And if they're all good, then they're happy to give it to a different species. The other thing is that they're very aware of the way they grow their roots. So the mother tree will draw back and move her roots and move herself, sort of like when we're all sitting at the table and then with our elbows out, and then more family members come, so you got to sit with your elbows down by your side so everyone can slide into the booth. Mother tree is able to move her roots and make room for her babies to grow and thrive. Right? Like
mommy
tree. So it's incredible. And so she did all sorts of experiments over and over and over again to the level that she's able to prove these things, that it doesn't matter if it's different species. They do not need to be related. They're still all talking to each other and communicating and saying, hey, do you need anything? I have some extra to pass along. So they're all very interconnected. They're all very supportive of each other. And then it is indeed true that a mother tree, quote, mother tree, can recognize her own kin and will prioritize those kin and make space for her kin to thrive. So it's just incredible. Like they're so aware, and you know, it might seem like, okay, yeah, that makes sense from like a tree that's like the same species, but just to know that it doesn't matter what species they are, they're still all in communication with each other. They're still all able to pass along what each other's need if they have spare energy to share. So it's just all incredible. Like forests, when you walk into a forest, those trees are all in communication with each other. They're all in community with each other. And this brought me back to a few episodes ago when we were talking about the hollow earth and magical realms, and I shared my little theory that I think like fantasy and sci-fi are often channeling truths, and it made me think of like Avatar, or in Lord of the Rings, I believe there's trees that are alive, and in Harry Potter, there's the Whomping Willow that has awareness and consciousness. And there's all of these themes of like the trees that come alive and they communicate with each other. Oh gosh, what was I just watching? Oh, I'm not going to talk about that one because I don't want to do a spoiler alert. It's a new season of a show. But if you watched Stranger Things, there's also a theme with this too. But of just plants in communication with each other. There, in all of these fantasy books, there's this theme of sometimes it's like be careful of the trees. They're talking. They can tell on you. Or now I'm remembering the trees in Lord of the Ring. Anyways, so or they're helping and they're saving you or whatever it is. But I'm like, that's all truth. The trees very much have awareness of us, and they're very much in communication with each other and in community. So I was like, yes, validating my theory once again with the trees.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh. I just could not, it was such a fun thing. I love when we do these types of episodes because it's like I can't get enough. Like I want to learn more and more and more and more and more. And it's so fun to have to take notes and have the joy of learning and not be tested on it the next day.
Yeah.
Just learn it because we enjoy it. So, okay. I'm gonna piggyback off of this amazing information you just shared. So, something that we know but we forget, trees can live such a long time. One of the oldest trees is this Great Basin pine that's 5,000 years old.
Wow.
And it's just still hanging out. They live for hundreds, thousands of years. And it is the big mother tree that is sort of like the queen bee. It's like the hub of the community. And so there were some conversations that I listened to about how it's really important that this knowledge is passed on to people who, get lumber, because you can't be cutting down these mother trees. It like sort of destroys the ecosystem and everything that's going on. Like there's ways to do it that doesn't mess everything up. And so I thought that was very interesting. So this layer that's under the earth, and I'm hoping I'm going to say it right, it's called the mycorrhizal network. And there's like these fungi that pick up minerals. Oh no, that's something else. Never mind. But that's what it's called. I wrote it down.
We could do a whole episode on just fungus because fungus is crazy.
Mycorrhizal network. So in the 1980s, there was an experiment. I freaking love experiments.
We love experiments.
They planted 2 pine trees side by side, and they put some radioactive carbon into one of the pine trees, and then they tested the other pine tree to see if it made its way over there, like through the ground, through this network, and it absolutely did. So then they said, okay, well, what if we put, that was the same species. So what if we take a birch tree and a fir tree, put them side by side, and cover the fir tree with a shaded tent? They're not related trees. Let's see if the birch is going to give its resources to the fir. And it absolutely did.
Yep.
They found the isotopes that they put into tree number 1 into tree number 2. And then when it was even more shaded, it gave even more. Like it intuitively knew what to give. This was another cool one. So they had 3 tomato plants planted next to each other. And they placed a caterpillar that's going to eat all the leaves on one of the plants. Within 6 hours, the other 2 plants had been communicated with, had been notified that there was danger. So the other 2 plants within 6 hours started creating defensive enzymes to protect themselves.
Oh, wow.
So this plant, I don't know how, but let them know that caterpillars were afoot, so you better look out. And this is just what you said. Trees of the same species have kin recognition and direct more resources to their kin. They have families. They have cousins. And then there was a question of we tend to think that natural selection is about competition, survival of the fittest, but trees and plants really show us that it is about community. In this way that we've never looked at it before, but it is also in their benefit, because if you're a tree, it behooves you for all the trees around you to be doing very well, because if all the trees around you die, you're not going to do great. So it's this system that really serves everybody. Like everybody gets what they need.
I feel like this goes back to the abundance code, and we can bring this back into our own lives and learn from trees, because it's when we give and we thrive and we want others in our lives to thrive too, versus feeling scarce and there's only so much to go around. There's only so much success. There's only so many opportunities. There's only so much abundance. I need to keep the people around me small. We're keeping ourselves small too. But if we give from a space of oh my gosh, I'm in a good place and I have this success, so I'm going to help lift you up too and bring you up too, and then we thrive even more. So it's so simple, but as humans our ego gets in the way and we have this fear of scarcity, and it's really cool that it's a gift that trees don't have a literal brain, so they don't have to deal with the ego, and they just know, well, it's for my greatest good to share what I have. And I think we can all learn from that.
Oh my God, I love that connection. It reminds me of, we did a really wonderful discovery call with somebody for Quantum Goddess. And there was, you know, a little bit of a concern of like, well, I kind of want to do what you girls do. And like, is that a problem? And it was like, no, please go make a podcast, host retreats, like be on the cover of magazines, like everybody wins, you know? And it's such a good feeling, because I've been in the energy of people who don't want to introduce you to anybody,
right?
Who don't want to share any resources at all because they are scared. And I just don't think that's like sustaining long term.
No, because if we help someone reach their greatest height, one, that's like, hey, look, we helped support that person, so that comes back to us and is something that uplifts what we do. And like there's space for everyone, because like the people that come to us to learn from us are meant to learn from us in the way that we teach. And there's certain people that would come and they would need sort of the basics of what we teach, but like it wouldn't connect the way we do it. It wouldn't serve them. But they hop over to the next person, and that's their person. That's gonna be the best for them. And like, we're all aware of that, but it can feel sticky sometimes and go, oh, I don't know, like I can't work with them because I want to do something similar. And when we dug into that more, it was actually very different, right? But even just being in a similar industry, we can get scarce and tight, but it's like, no, there's room for all of us, and there's our special audience that we're meant to connect on that deeper level with and serve. And then those people are different for you, or they might even be the same people, because we chatted even more and it was like, actually, you know, anyways, yeah, I mean, I just feel like the trees are like, learn from us, share your energy, lift each other up. We all thrive when we support each other.
Oh my God, I feel like the plant next to me is so excited. Like, you're talking about me. Yay.
Here, I've got my little friend over here too.
Oh, let's hit. Hello.
Shake it in the little plant ASMR.
Today's episode is about plants. That'll be the intro.
Then I was gonna say intro. You're happy too.
I'm going to see if I have anything else. I think that's essentially like what I researched, but it just all absolutely blew my mind.
It's incredible. And there was one other thing that I wanted to share, and it was just like a reels or something that I saw, and it's actually about fungus, and I think we should do another episode about fungus because there's so much more to dig in there.
Yes.
But it has to do with like plant consciousness. And so I'm so sorry that I am being vague. If I find the reels, I will. I think it was one Craig sent to me, so I may be able to link it so you can see it better and you can visualize it. But I believe it was Japanese researchers, and they have what they believe is to be the smartest fungus in the world. Ooh. And they've done all sorts of different experiments of this fungus like moving through mazes. They'll put like dots of nutrients in these mazes, and the fungus will go find them very quickly. And so I can't remember which city it is, but they have one of the most like complicated subway systems in the world, or like most in-depth, like it goes everywhere in the city. And I apologize that I don't remember the city, but they set up a system of all of the subway stops they put as dots of nutrients, and then they put the fungus in the middle. And the fungus at first was moving out sporadically, and then it reorganized itself and spread out to these spots. And it showed, because this fungus is incredibly intelligent and finds the most efficient way to travel, it showed a model of how they could make the subway system as efficient as possible. Because it knew the smartest way to travel from, quote, stop to stop, because they had it set up. I'm pretty sure I can find the reel, so I'll link it and you can get a better visual of this. But it basically, they can use this fungus to like revolutionize the efficiency of like roads, subways, things like that, because it's so intelligent that it always finds the most efficient way to travel to these spots. Is that incredible?
Fungus for president.
Fungus for president. You heard it here first. I'm writing in fungus on my ballot. So that was pretty cool. And I have to rewatch it because I think I dozed off. But there's a really cool documentary on Netflix about fungus that I can't remember the name of now.
That one also put me right to sleep one night. I'm going to watch it again.
Very relaxing. Mm-hmm. It makes you feel good. So don't be tired when you watch it, but it's really good. But yeah, it's incredible. It's all of these things just prove to me that like magic is real. Like I know it's science, but to me like science and magic can very much be one and the same because it's phenomenal. It's miraculous. It's so cool.
I'm even more obsessed with my plants now than I already was.
Everyone,
which is hard to do, but here we go.
Go have a sweet little chat with your plants. Go just tell them some positive words. I like to shake my fiddle leaf and go, "You're doing a really good job," in that voice. That's my plant voice, also my cat voice. Say, "Oh, you're doing a really good job." Oh, I'm shaking it. I think they like it. So we can learn from our plant friends to share the abundance, to be in community with one another, and to embrace the magic of our world. So I thought I would pull us a little card today. What do you think?
I love that. Let's get a card going.
So we are soon to be launching a new deck that you may have heard us mention before. The cool little sis of our currently available Intuitive Magic Oracle. Look at us on the box. How freaking cute.
Those girls.
Look at them go. So we have
I'm just gonna prune my plant while you tell this story.
Amazing. We have the Intuitive Magic Oracle available now, limited stock left. We may reorder it again in the future, but for the time being, we're going to be focusing on our next deck, the Quantum Goddess holographic deck. So we decided, we were so inspired by our Quantum Goddess program, we knew we had to put it together in a way that was really fun, really playful, and really available for everyone to get in the Quantum Goddess energy, even if you're not necessarily desiring to like start a business or monetize your art or those things that we work on in the program, but you really want to get that like momentum going in your life. The Quantum Goddess holographic deck is gonna be perfect for you. It's super fun. It's super special. We'll be able to share the actual deck and what it looks like with you very soon. But if you want some sneak peeks, make sure you're on our email list, which the link is in the show notes, because we've been sending out, I say I because I do the Oracle part, but we've been sending out the digital version of a card pull from the new deck, which has been really fun. And if you've been enjoying that, let us know what you think. We're really excited. But let's pull a deck from Big Sis right now. I mean, pull a card, pull a deck. Oh my god. I've been shuffling. Look at the card I pulled. It has a fucking tree on it. No! There is one card in this deck with a tree. I am going to throw up. That is spooky.
Woo!
Now I'm rethinking the imagery and what this card message is, because this is solitude, but trees are in such community with each other. Yes. But the message from this card, solitude: allow yourself the sacred time to be alone. reset, and invite in peace, calm, and clarity. Now, I think this is incredibly important. One, because our tree friends are saying, thank you for sharing about us. But two, solitude is really, really important. It's important to be able to spend time with ourselves, to really tune into how we're feeling, how we're doing, time with ourselves to get in our creative energy, to do things that fill us up, fill up our cup, so that then we have the energy to be in community with others, just like the tree. So that's how
I also think a good place to be in solitude is out under a tree in nature.
Exactly. That was definitely the inspiration for this card, was how good it feels to be just sitting under a tree alone with a book or with your own thoughts. The trees are inviting us to go spend some time with them. How crazy is it to pull this card?
It's pretty crazy.
It like flew out while I was shuffling. Unfortunately, I was shuffling down here, but
I swear.
I swear, you guys. So that's the Intuitive Magic Oracle. Coming soon is our new deck. We're so excited.
Yes.
Gosh, what else? Our BFF Patreon. Come hang out with us. It is so fun. We hang out on Discord. We have so many fun chats. We've got witchy resources. We've got relationships. We got the fun spicy chat where we talk about hot juicy matters. We have a deity chat, a spells, a card pull, all sorts of fun stuff. What other ones? What are some of your favorite chat themes?
I love everybody sharing their outfit of the day.
Yes.
That's a popular channel. I love the memes. There's a plant chat if you want to meet some fellow plant people. There's so much to explore. So many really just the most amazing people we've ever met. I'm very I feel like we're doing something right, because all the people that we attract are just, the people I would have run to be their best friend back in school. Yes. And we get to be friends with them now. So our arms are wide open, and we would love to welcome you into our community. It is the best $5 a month you'll ever spend on anything, and I can guarantee that.
Yeah. And we also have an option if you want to join the Coven tier. So you get the chats and everything, but then you also get one call a month with us. It's so fun. It's basically like a little workshop. We discuss with the Coven what they want to learn more about. We've done so many different fun things. And when you join the Coven, you get to watch the past replays too, which is really fun. There's lots of juicy information there for you. We recently did a Deity Workshop, and we've been having some pretty cool breakthroughs with people connecting with their deities, and we've got all sorts of fun stuff on there. I was just thinking about, I'm just going to keep relating back to what we learned about today, but I feel like our Patreon is like a forest. We share our energy with each other. We support each other. When one goddess babe is feeling down, we give a little energy to them. When they're feeling back up again, they're ready to give some energy to somebody else. It's just like living in a forest.
It is.
Be a tree. Be a BFF tree with goddess hangs.
Oh, and we're the mother trees. Ah!
We're ready to move our roots aside to make room for you in the forest. That's not the best advertisement we've had yet. Nailed it.
So good.
And so when this episode comes out, we're going to be wrapping up our first ever in-person retreat, which I'm so excited for. It hasn't happened yet as of recording time, but I'm sure you've been seeing us have so much fun on our Instagram. We'll be posting lots of fun content, so make sure you're following us at Goddess Hangs. And then if you're feeling FOMO and you're like, I can't believe I missed out on that retreat, well, I have great news for you. Juliet, where are we going in 2023?
Oh, It's, nothing exciting. We're just going to Bali all together.
Oh my God. We're going to meet all of the trees in Bali and monkeys.
Oh my god.
And who knows who else. It's going to be very exciting, very fun. So check out the deets. That's all in the show notes. Anything else?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, if you're watching the retreat in real time and you're like, oh, I wish I was there, it's going to be an exquisite, extraordinary, unforgettable, unbelievable time in Bali. We would love to have you join us. You can bring your partner, you can bring your best friends. The trip is open to the public and our community at large. So again, check out that link. We have created and customized the best itinerary possible for the week that we're there. We're talking swings and waterfalls and temples and monkey forests and just cooking class. I mean, it's going to be unbelievable and amazing. Beach days. And we're celebrating our birthdays there together next summer. So come to our Mary Kate and Ashley's birthday party in Bali. We can't wait to see you.
We're so excited. So make sure you're following us on Instagram at Goddess Hangs. I am Sadie Olson.
I'm at juliet.piper.
Check out our website, goddesshangs.com. We have tons of fun merch, including a gigantic, super soft, fuzzy blanket with our faces on it. The merch you never knew you needed, but now you must have it. We have really cute mugs and hats and bucket hats and all sorts of fun stuff. We'd love to match with you. We still have our jewelry collaboration with Out Charm. Juliet's wearing her goddess necklace right now. There's the Juliet the goddess necklace, Sadie the witch necklace. We've got a really cute charm ring and a charm bracelet. We love matching with our best friends, so check that out. And we just love you and thank you for supporting us and listening every week. And we'll see you in the next one.
Go talk to your plants and trees. We'll see you next week.
Bye.